You have said your dog's name. You have said it again. You have now said it a third time with a slightly different intonation that you believe conveys meaning. Your dog is sitting approximately 4 feet away from you. They have excellent hearing. You know this because they heard the refrigerator door open from the other end of the house 30 seconds ago. And yet, right now, in this specific moment, your dog appears to have developed a complete and sudden onset of deafness that is confined exclusively to the sound of their own name being spoken by you. Welcome to Hidden Paw Signals. Today, we are going into one of the most relatable and slightly humbling experiences of dog ownership, the selective hearing situation. And the science behind it is going to make you feel better about your dog, while also making you reconsider some things about how you have been communicating with them. Subscribe now, because this one has practical stuff you are going to use today. Let us establish the foundation first. Selective attention in animals, including dogs, is not a behavioral failure or a sign of stubbornness in any meaningful sense. It is a normal, documented function of how attentional resources work in all cognitive systems. Research on canine attention and cognitive control, published in Applied Animal Behavior Science, has established that dogs have a genuinely limited capacity for sustained, directed attention, particularly when that attention is being directed towards something that is competing with a more motivationally compelling alternative. When your dog is investigating a smell, tracking a moving target, or processing a highly arousing stimulus in their environment, their attentional resources are allocated toward that thing. Your voice, entering from outside the current focus of attention, has to compete for allocation against something that is biologically more compelling in that moment. This is not your dog deciding to ignore you. This is your dog's attention system doing exactly what attention systems are designed to do, which is to prioritize the most behaviorally relevant stimulus in the current environment. Your dog does this too, right? Is there a specific situation or location where your dog's hearing suddenly becomes very selective? Drop it in the comments, because the pattern is actually useful information about what is competing with your voice for their attention. The quality and consistency of name training also plays a significant role in how reliably your dog orients to their name across different levels of competing stimulation. A dog whose name has been consistently paired with genuinely positive outcomes, attention, play, treats, good things, across thousands of repetitions in varied environments, has a much stronger neural association between that sound and the motivation to orient toward it. The dog's name, in the behavioral science framework, is a conditioned cue. Its power to compete with other motivational stimuli depends entirely on the strength of the conditioning behind it. If your dog's name has sometimes meant fun things, sometimes meant being called away from fun things, sometimes meant the end of something enjoyable, and sometimes meant nothing at all, the conditioned association is weak and inconsistent. A weak cue does not compete well against a strong natural motivator. A fridge opening, a squirrel moving, or an interesting smell all have strong, direct biological value. Your dog's name has only the value that training has assigned it, and if that training has been inconsistent, the value is inconsistent. This is the real explanation for most of what owners experience as selective deafness. It is not that the dog is choosing not to hear. It is that the signal being sent does not have enough trained value to compete with whatever the dog's attention is currently engaged with. Does your dog respond differently to their name at home compared to outside or at the park? Most dogs do, and this is because the competing stimulation in outdoor environments is dramatically higher, which means the cue needs to be dramatically stronger to successfully compete.
Training recall and name response in low distraction environments only, and then expecting it to work in high distraction environments, is one of the most common training oversights. The cue only works under the conditions where it was practiced. Training it across varied environments and varied distraction levels is what builds the kind of reliable response that actually works when you need it. There is also a practical thing worth understanding about how you use your dog's name that significantly affects its power.
Every time you say your dog's name and they do not respond and there is no consequence or follow-through, you are practicing the non-response and building its habituation. The repeated ineffective calling pattern, name, 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 come on, name, trains your dog that the name does not actually require a response because nothing happens if they do not respond. This is counterintuitive, but very well documented in animal learning research. The more you repeat a cue without the behavior occurring, the more you weaken the cue. A much more effective approach is to call the name once, make the movement or sound that gets the dog to you if needed, and then heavily reward the orientation when it happens, even if you had to help it happen. Over time, this rebuilds the association between the name and the highly positive outcome of coming to you. The dog is not being stubborn, the dog is responding exactly as their learning history has trained them to respond. Which means the solution is not louder calling, the solution is better conditioning of the cue, practiced across the environments where you need it to work. Your dog can absolutely hear you when you say their name 4 feet away. The question is whether their learning history has made that sound compelling enough to compete with whatever currently has their attention. And if it has not, that is fixable. Starting with one good repetition paired with one excellent outcome, consistently delivered in more environments than just the living room. The environment in which name training happens is one of the most important and most overlooked variables in building reliable recall behavior. Most owners train recall in the house, in the backyard, or in low distraction environments where the dog has nothing competing with their attention. In these contexts, the dog performs beautifully. Then the same cue is tried at the dog park or on a walk past something exciting, and it fails completely. The failure is not a sign that the dog has become disobedient. It is a sign that the cue was never actually trained to work in high distraction environments, and high distraction environments are where you need it most. Research on canine attention, cue conditioning, and generalization in dogs has consistently found that dogs do not automatically transfer a cue learned in one context to all other contexts. The cue needs to be specifically practiced in each new environment, at each new distraction level, to build the breadth of reliability that owners typically assume they already have. This is sometimes called the 3 Ds of dog training: distance, duration, and distraction. And of the 3, distraction is the variable that most often explains the gap between what a dog can do at home and what they actually do in the real world. Does your dog respond differently to their name inside versus outside? If the answer is yes, that is the generalization gap showing up in practice. The solution is to take name response training to all the environments where you want it to work at increasing distraction levels with consistently high-value rewards before you need it in an emergency. Building that bank of successful responses across varied environments is the actual training work that produces reliable results. One more thing worth knowing: the value of the reward you use when practicing name response in high distraction environments needs to be meaningfully higher than the value of what you are competing with. A piece of dry kibble will not compete with a squirrel at the park. A tiny piece of hot dog might. Matching the reward value to the distraction level is one of the practical training insights most owners learn later than they wish they had. The final piece worth carrying forward from this is the most practically motivating. The gap between your dog's name response now and the name response you want is entirely closable.
There is no dog whose recall cannot be improved with patient, consistent, high-reward practice across the right range of environments and distraction levels. The dogs who reliably come every time at the park, in a crowd, near a squirrel, are dogs whose owners put in the training reps across those specific situations over time. That reliability was built, not given. Your dog's current selective hearing is not a verdict on your dog's trainability or on your relationship. It is a map of where the training has and has not yet reached, and maps can be followed. Pick the most important context where you need the recall to work. Start training there with the best reward you have, one great repetition at a time. And for the record on where this is coming from, the research on canine attention, cue conditioning, and generalization that I'm drawing on here is published in Applied Animal Behavior Science and the Journal of Veterinary Behavior, which are the peer-reviewed sources I rely on for everything I share with you. Just a quick note before you go. Everything I share on this channel comes from my own research journey and learning journey. I'm not a vet, I'm not a scientist, and I'm definitely not a certified dog behaviorist. This is just one person going way too deep into dog psychology and sharing what they found. So please, if your dog is showing any serious, sudden, or unusual symptoms, do not diagnose it with YouTube. Go see your actual vet. They went to school for this. I watched videos about it. Those are different things. And as always, this video was produced with the help of artificial intelligence. Thanks for watching Hidden Paw Signals. See you in the next one.